one of the things that are unique about our vinegars is the process that we use to make vinegar, which was really the process that was used starting in the early 1800s and then just fell out of favor. And the reason it fell out of favor is because there were new processes that can make vinegar much faster and much cheaper. They didn't say much better. They just said much faster and much cheaper. So these machines went out of use. We rebuilt them based on an old sketch that we ended up finding. So what happens is we will ferment alcohol, so cider, wine, goes through a fermentation process in which the alcohol changes over to acid, to vinegar. So we ferment in this drip machine that we recreated, and after the vinegar has fermented, we transfer them to the barrels that you see behind me. So these are all American oak barrels that were formerly used to age American whiskeys. We get the barrels straight from the distillery, which is right over the border from us in Massachusetts in New York. So we get the barrels directly from there. We let our vinegars mellow in these barrels, so they're not getting a whiskey flavor. They're literally just kind of softening the edges of the acid, which adds to the complexity of the flavor of our vinegars. Like this company we're not part of some huge conglomerate. We don't have a large bank account full of stuff. Like the only way that American Vinegar Works succeeds is by doing what we promise to do for customers, which is to provide them a great American vinegar. So there is no other choice. We're actually making something as opposed to marketing something. The works in American Vinegar Works is we're actually producing this thing and we're doing it right here in central Massachusetts. Like we make the vinegar, we bottle the vinegar, we get the vinegar to you. It's not like we are some kind of phantasm marketing company out there. Like we are actually manufacturing something for you. So there's a little bit of that in the name, and we are a little bit dorky with vinegar jokes. So our tagline is actually great vinegar, mother made us do it, which the hardcore vinegar users out there get as a tongue-in-cheek. So to make vinegar, you need alcohol, so like a wine, a cider. You need heat. You need bacteria, which is all around us, vinegar bacteria. You need oxygen and you need time, right? Over time, the bacteria sort of eat away at the alcohol and transform it into acetic acid, which is vinegar. So that's the big high level how you make vinegar through a natural fermentation process. Our process is a process from 1823, and this process from 1823 that we landed on is sometimes called the German or the drip method. It was created by a German scientist in 1823, but at the time this was like cutting edge in the 1800s because it did create vinegar just slightly faster than the old traditional types. But more importantly, it created a better quality vinegar because there was greater consistency in the fermentation as it went through the process, right? After we ferment in those machines, we then transfer it over the finished vinegar into the barrels, and they'll age there at least 4 months. Some of them age there significantly longer, and frankly, some of them ferment significantly longer. And after they've aged, we pull the vinegars out and we hand bottle everything that goes out of our facility. We don't filter any of our vinegars. So sometimes you'll find, like, you're looking at your rice wine and you're like, how is this thing not filtered? It's like crystal clear. The reason it's crystal clear is that we age them for so long that gravity filters the vinegars by themselves. So anything that's floating just settles down into the bottle, which is how we have these crystal vinegars that have never been filtered before. Folks have sometimes heard of the idea of terroir, or sense of place associated with wines, for instance, right? So where you grow something, where you make something, that ends up influencing the flavor of the product itself, right? So when we're looking at our vinegars, we're doing the same thing. We're thinking about vinegars with a sense of place. And for us, what that means is we're only sourcing select American alcohols. So at the moment, our beers are all coming out of New England. Our grape wines, red wine, Chardonnay, Rosé, those are all coming out of California. Our mead, which is a honey wine, is all coming out of Vermont. So all of these different alcohols are being sourced in different places in the US because those places produce a different character of wine. If you think about like a French wine or an Italian wine and you compare that to a California wine, they all have their own character, right? And I'm actually not a proponent of saying one character is better than the other one necessarily, but I think it is important to appreciate and to recognize how different places produce different characters, different flavors, different qualities in the food that we're having. So our goal at American Vinegar Works is to make a great American vinegar, which is why we only use what we think are great American wines and ciders and beers, so that we can reflect this sense of place in the vinegar. Our vinegar should taste different than a vinegar that you're getting in Europe or you're getting in Asia, because of how it was made, where it was made, the ingredients that were used to make it.